This is a perfect dip, and this is an imperfect dip. Spot the differences? If you did, leave a comment below, and let's see if you got it right. The differences between these two dips might be small, but each small error could be detrimental to your progression in terms of the load you can carry or unlocking new skills. And more importantly, it could be detrimental to your health. Yo, my name is Prasad, and in this video, I'll be discussing how to perform the perfect dip. Step 1, internal rotation. Let's start with the base, your shoulder. One of the most common injuries that I see when it comes to doing a bar dip is a shoulder injury. And this can happen because of 4 reasons. 1, a lack of mobility when it comes to internal rotation. Now, if lack of mobility is the issue, a simple way to find out if you have an issue is raise your elbow to a 90-degree position, lock down on your shoulders, and lower your wrist as far as you can go. This is as far as I can go without popping my shoulders. If I go any further than this, my shoulder will pop out. And this is similarly to what happens when you do a bar dip in the wrong way, and it can cause an injury. Now, if this is the issue, use a foam roller, use a lacrosse ball to get your mobility going and to mobilize your joint and also the muscles around it. 2, a lack of strength when it comes to your external rotation, or AKA a lack of strength in your rotator cuff. If lack of strength is an issue, use exercises such as face pulls or banded external rotations in different planes. And if you want me to make a video on this separately, I'll gladly do so. Actually, that's a great idea. 3, wrong cueing methods before you start the move itself. If cueing is the issue, once you get into position, imagine corkscrewing the parallel bars and externally rotate. This will also help you in the next point. 4, shrugging your shoulders instead of activating your shoulder blades. Instead of shrugging your shoulders, you want to be pushing down and activating your shoulder blades and locking that position throughout the movement. Now, in the beginning, you might not have enough strength to push down your shoulders and hold that position. So I would recommend, instead of doing the dip itself, get into position, push down your shoulder blades, and hold that position for maybe 6 seconds and repeat it for 10 reps. As you get stronger, your endurance will increase, and then you can hold down an active shoulder blade position throughout the move. Next, let's talk about elbow position. The elbow position is one of the most important positions for your bar dip as well. Kinda duh. You don't want to flare out your elbow or completely tuck in your elbow either. Yes, there are instances where a flared out elbow or a completely tucked in elbow is okay, but those are exceptions. We're not talking about exceptions, we're talking about the norm, and that's where we want to be strong at to begin with. You want to position your elbows anywhere between a completely tucked in position to a 45-degree angle. This will be your best bet. Next, let's talk about what I deem to be the most important part of the dip, your core. I'm surprised not a lot of people talk about it, considering the fact that your lower body plays a massive part in performing a dip. And the only thing that controls your lower body is your core. Imagine you don't control your lower body and it just dangles around and does whatever it wants. Most of the energy goes away in just trying to balance your body and get a grip and perform the move. That's not what we want. What we want most of the energy to go in is to actually do the move and build your chest muscle. You'll constantly hear this advice from people that the more forward lean you have, the more emphasis you're going to put on your chest, and the more backward lean you have, the more emphasis you're going to put on your triceps. And that's absolutely correct. The way that people get around doing this is by either pushing the leg back by themselves, which puts a forward lean, or by asking their partner, trainer, or friend to hold their leg at the back, so that puts a forward lean. Both of which I would not recommend. This teaches bad mechanics when it comes to the movement, and this could lead to a lot of issues down the line. What I recommend you do is get into position, as I mentioned before. Once you get into position, perform a crunch, and this will automatically raise your hip, and that will push your body forward. And then you can rep it out. In the beginning, it's going to be pretty hard to do this. So I would recommend, instead of doing the dip, get into position and keep repeating the process of performing a crunch and raising your hip and holding that position so that you can start holding an activated core while performing the dip. Next, let's talk about depth. In terms of how deep you can go in your dip, that heavily depends on your shoulder mobility. First of all, putting heavy load and quarter repping it is not a rep. If you can do that and you call that a rep, I call bullshit. Fight me. Anyways, how deep can you go? I'd recommend parallel or just below parallel. Can you go below that? Yes, you can if you have the mobility for it. But at that point, at parallel or just below parallel, you've already reached maximal stretch when it comes to your chest muscle. Below that, I don't think that's worth the risk of injuring yourself, especially when you start carrying heavier loads. If you stuck with me so far, power to you. It would be awesome if you could use a little bit of that power and smash that like button. As a bonus, I want to talk about tempo. What I'm talking about is simple, controlled movement from the beginning of your dip till the end of your dip. This is very important for someone who's a beginner because they're trying to master a move before you start doing some fancy stuff. Or even for someone who's seasoned because maybe you're injured and you want to improve on one element or find out which element you want to improve on. Controlling your reps and not just rushing through a rep gives you enough time to think about what's wrong and what needs to be improved on and concentrate on that. So concentrate on quality of reps, not the quantity of reps. This will aid you in the long run as opposed to the other way around. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, click right here. If you don't want to do that, that's okay too.